You know, George Orwell's 1984, it's so much more than just a story, isn't it? It's basically a blueprint for a system of total, absolute control. It paints this picture of a world that is just meticulously designed to crush the human spirit. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct this world piece by horrifying piece to really get a grip on how a system like this could even be possible.
And it all kicks off with these three slogans. I mean, just look at them. They're etched onto the side of the Ministry of Truth. But these aren't just catchy phrases, oh no. This is the fundamental, completely twisted logic that holds this entire world together. You gotta remember them, because literally everything we're about to talk about is built on this insane foundation of contradiction.
So, what does this world actually look like? Let's do it. Let's step right into the gray, decaying streets of what they call Airstrip 1 and meet the man at the very center of our story, Winston Smith.
Right off the bat, this is not the London you or I know. It's a landscape of just total decay. I want you to picture it. Vistas of rotting houses, literally propped up with bits of timber, windows patched up with cardboard, bombed-out sites where plaster dust just swirls in the air. This is Winston's everyday reality. A city where the past hasn't just been forgotten, it's been physically and mentally wiped off the map.
And then there's the telescreen. It's everywhere, in every home, every public space. Think of it as the party's all-seeing eye and all-hearing ear, all rolled into one. Now you can dim it, sure, but you can never turn it completely off. So whether you're asleep or awake, you are being watched, always. The psychological pressure is just immense. I mean, even a frown in your sleep could betray you. Think about that.
So you have to wonder, right? How does the party actually maintain this kind of power? Well, it's not just about the constant surveillance. It's something deeper. It's this incredibly complex, carefully designed architecture of control that doesn't just target people, it targets reality itself.
Okay, so the government is split into 4 ministries, and each one is a masterpiece of, well, twisted irony. You've got the Ministry of Truth, which, surprise, surprise, deals in lies and changes history on a daily basis. The Ministry of Peace, it wages perpetual war. The Ministry of Plenty oversees constant shortages. And then there's the Ministry of Love. That's the one that should really scare you. It's the center for law, order, and torture.
And these ministries, they all operate on a set of core principles. First, you've got ingsak, that's the ruling ideology. Then there's Newspeak, which is the official language, and its whole purpose is to narrow the range of thought so that one day rebellious ideas will be literally impossible to even form in your head. The mutability of the past means history is whatever the party decides it is today. But the real glue holding it all together? That's doublethink. It's this insane mental gymnastics of holding 2 contradictory beliefs at the same time and accepting both of them. It's knowing you're changing the past, while at the same time truly believing the new version was always the truth.
So what you get is this massive, constant disconnect between the official propaganda and what people are actually living through. On the one hand, the telescreen is blaring out news of glorious victories and how the standard of living is soaring. But on the other hand, what's Winston's reality? Well, the chocolate ration just got cut again, and he can't even find a simple razor blade. This gap between what the party says and what is real, it's not just a gap, it's a giant, unbridgeable chasm. Now, in a world that demands absolute conformity, even the tiniest act of individuality is a full-blown rebellion. And for Winston, his rebellion? It all begins with a simple and very illegal purchase.
So Winston finds this beautiful blank book in a junk shop. It's a total relic from a forgotten time. And the simple act of opening it and writing down a date, April 4th, 1984, is a capital offense, a death sentence. And it's not because of what he writes, it's the act itself. The very idea of keeping a private record, of having your own thoughts, that is what the party calls thought crime. He has literally marked himself for death from the very first page.
Meanwhile, back at work, all his paranoia starts to focus on this one young woman with dark hair. He doesn't look at her and see a person or a potential friend. No, he sees an enemy. He basically projects all his bottled-up hatred for the party right onto her. Her youth, her pretty face, that scarlet sash she wears for the Junior Anti-Sex League. In his mind, she's this zealous, perfect spy who would turn him in without a second thought. And then, something completely unthinkable happens. In a crowded hallway, she trips and falls. And as he helps her up, she slips a tiny, folded note into his hand. He's terrified, right? He waits until he's finally alone,
convinced it's a summons from the thought police. He unfolds it, and it just says 3 words on it. A message so impossible, so incredibly dangerous, that it completely shatters his entire world. That one little note, it ignites a secret affair. It's this brief, almost hopeless, desperate attempt to carve out a tiny private world for themselves, right inside a system that's designed to eliminate privacy completely.
You know, their rebellion isn't reckless. It requires some serious, meticulous planning. Julia's whole philosophy is what she calls camouflage. Keep the small rules so you can break the big ones. Their sanctuary becomes this dusty old room above that junk shop, this little supposed island of the past with no telescreen in sight. And through it all, they hold on to this one, single, and ultimately fatal belief, that their inner feelings, that's the one thing the party can never, ever touch. This path of rebellion eventually leads them to O'Brien, a high-ranking inner party member who Winston is just convinced is a secret revolutionary. And O'Brien, he inducts them into this mythical brotherhood. But here's the thing. There are no promises of victory. O'Brien is brutally honest with them. He tells them, you will be caught, you will confess, and you will die. Their fight isn't for themselves. It's for a future they will never, ever get to see.
So O'Brien gives them the book. It's basically the manifesto that explains the party's entire grand strategy. And it reveals this theory that history is just this constant cycle, right? The middle class gets the low class on their side to overthrow the high class, only to become the new high. And it just repeats. Well, the party's ultimate goal is to be the first ruling class in history to finally break that cycle, to freeze history in place, creating a permanent oligarchy. See, they don't just want power. They want power forever.
But here's the devastating twist. Their secret room, their induction into the Brotherhood, all their hope for the future, it was all just one big elaborate trap. And now, that illusion they've been living in is about to be brutally shattered.
Picture it. They're lying there in their sanctuary, and Winston just repeats something O'Brien told them. We are the dead. And then suddenly, a cold, iron voice agrees with him. You are the dead. The voice comes from behind a picture on the wall, which then crashes down to reveal a hidden telescreen. Their private world was a complete fiction. The party was watching the entire time. Winston is dragged to the Ministry of Love. And who's this interrogator? O'Brien himself, of course. And this is where O'Brien explains the party's twisted genius. See, past tyrannies, they made the mistake of creating martyrs. The party is different. It doesn't just destroy its enemies, it converts them. The goal is to break Winston's mind, completely empty him out, and then refill him with the party itself. Through all this relentless torture, Winston clings to one last tiny piece of objective reality. He thinks, okay, the party can control the past, they can control the present, but surely, they can't change a simple fact of arithmetic. For him, freedom boils down to one thing, the freedom to say that 2 + 2 make 4. That is the final, desperate bastion of his independent mind.
But O'Brien's methods are absolute. He tortures Winston, not just until he says that 2 + 2 make 5, but until he truly, deep down, believes it. And in the end, it works. Winston looks at the 4 fingers O'Brien is holding up, and he sees 5. His mind is broken. His entire sense of self is just gone. The party now controls his reality, completely and totally.
The conversion is complete. All that's left now is the final chilling outcome of Winston's journey.
He's released back into the world, just a hollowed-out shell of a man, sitting in a cafe. A telescreen announces some great military victory, and right in that moment, any trace of rebellion, any memory of Julia, any love he had for truth, it's all just gone. It's been replaced by this pure, overwhelming love for the party and for Big Brother. The system has won, utterly and completely. And this leaves us with the central question of 1984, doesn't it? A question that maybe echoes even louder today than when it was written. When the past can be erased, when reality itself can be manufactured, then what is truth?